Hey folks, this is Takota Coen here on Coen Farm, and in this video we're going to be showing how our pork is made. So to start off with, we're down here at one of our aquaculture systems here, and we're harvesting duckweed. So this duckweed, or Lemna minor, is a free-floating aquatic plant that has little rootlets on it that grow down into the water and grab nutrients that are in the water, and they use that to grow off of. So this plant here will double every 24 hours. It's like it just clones itself. And the interesting thing about it is that it has more protein than soy. So this has been, an integral part of us keeping our pork soy-free. So what we do is we just come down, we skim off some of the duckweed that blows up against the dock here. And inside this duckweed, there's all kinds of, freshwater shrimp, there's snails, there's little beetles and a lot of fish eggs and snail eggs and stuff. And all of that, those eggs, along with the duckweed, provides our pigs with a lot of nutrients that they couldn't get anywhere else. And because of the way we have our corral system set up, which we'll be going to next, all of any excess runoff from our corral system, either from our pigs or our cows or our chickens, any of their nutrients, their manure or urine that gets carried away in the rain, it actually washes down into this pond area here, and that's what grows this duckweed. So we've essentially turned a waste into a resource that we're using to produce some excellent feed for our pigs here. Okay, that's enough. So you can see here there's things like, we've got snails, we've got insect larvae, there's all kinds of critters and stuff in here, and these are all excellent sources for different vitamins, minerals, enzymes, and things that give our pork the fantastic flavor that it has. And interestingly enough, when we did our omega-3 to 6 ratio testing a couple years ago, the scientist Richard Bazinet from the University of Toronto told us, when he was going over our results, he said, it's interesting, your pork had omega-3s that are typically only found in seafood, and nobody else, none of the other pork producers that were also pasture raised, none of them else had that. And he was wondering what we were doing, and I told him about the duckweed as well as the cattail system, which we'll be checking out later. And it was pretty obvious why we had seafood omega-3s is because of the amount of aquatic plants and organisms that they're eating. So we'll grab this bucket along with the milk from yesterday in the milk machine, and we'll head up to feed the pigs here. Okay, so I'm gonna feed these guys so they quiet down, and then we'll talk about what we're doing here. All right, now that we got some peace and quiet. So these are our Berkshire pigs here, and every day, twice a day, they get fed piggy porridge. And this piggy porridge is essentially fermented milk and sourdough grain. So we grow a variety of grains here on the farm, and we also buy some in from other organic farmers. And we take that grain, we grind it on farm in one of our mix mills, and we actually mix in hay and grass into that mixture, and then we ferment it all for 24 hours in raw milk from some of our Jersey milk cows. And then once it's fermented, we're able to pour it out into these troughs here for the piglets to eat and their mums to eat. Now the reason why we ferment this grain is because just like, you know, sourdough grain and fermented foods are healthy for people, it's the same thing for pigs. So pigs are a monogastric animals, meaning they only have one stomach. And because of that, they really benefit from having the food pre-digested in these buckets like this. So one of our models for our pork is that, you know, if you wouldn't eat white bread, your pork shouldn't either. And so, you know, as opposed to just setting a big bag of white flour out for them to eat and get nice and you know, and fat on, we ferment everything with milk, and it pre-digests the grains, makes it more bioavailable, so that they can get more nutrients out of it. So we have to feed them less grain, which, you know, helps keep our production costs down, and it also, you know, dramatically increases the flavor. And if you were to smell, you know, this porridge right now, it has like a really sweet floral scent, in the same way that a really nice sourdough culture has. So now that I've got the piglets fed, we're gonna start milking our cow. So you may have noticed that in the commotion, our milk cow, Sophie over there, came in from her pasture. We've got a little alleyway set up there, and she's ready to get milked. So we're gonna take this milker, get it set up, and then go get her in the stall. And while I'm over here getting our milking machine set up, I'm also gonna let our free-range chickens out of their little hut here. We've got a passive solar designed coop, and these girls are gonna go out, they're gonna clean up any of the scrap grain. You can see them over there, they're eating the grain against any of the stuff that we dropped on the ground. So they like the fermented food as well. And they're gonna go out and get lots of insects, go get some of that duckweed, and make some really nice eggs for us. Okay, so you can see the dairy cows are coming back in from their grazing. If they hadn't come back, what I would do is I'd have to call them. So I would say, "Come, boss." You can see how they just turned their heads over here looking. So all the animals have their own little call that we use to bring them to us when we want them to come. So I'm gonna go grab Sophie, and we'll get started milking while these guys are eating. Boss. Come on. Come on.
One full udder.
Yeah. So last night we locked Sophie's calf up in that little hut over there, so that she could sleep in a nice shed overnight. And now Sophie's got a full udder of milk from grazing on our pastures, and we're gonna get that milk out of her. We're gonna separate it for cream, and then that skim milk is gonna come back to the pigs tomorrow. Come, boss. So we give Sophie a little bit of the pig grain as well, just so she has a nice treat to come in. This is a little strap that we use to hang the milking machine on. And we'll give her udder a little massage, get her milk ready to flow. We'll hand strip out a couple squirts of milk so it's nice and clean. Okay, she's ready to go. So we'll get our teats in there, and we hang the little milker on. Give her a couple other rub downs. Okay, so now she'll stand there and get milked while we go and make our pig grain. But before we do that, I want to show you where the pigs are grazing right now. So this system that we're in right now, we call it our integrated livestock system, and it's designed off of a hub and spoke. So there's a central hub, which we're standing in right now, and off of that hub there's a series of spokes that radiate out, and in each spoke there's a different forage resource. So one of the spokes is, a pasture for the dairy cows. We've got some gardens out on this side, there's cropland out on this side, there's forest, there's a wetland area, and depending on the different time of the year and which forage resources in season, we open up different gates so that the animals can range out from that hub to a different spoke. And in that way it makes it really efficient for us to do our chores, and it keeps the animals in constant access to grass or some other forage resource. So this is one of our little pig slide gates, and if we didn't want them to come through, we would just lock it so they couldn't road it up. But right now we want them to come through there, so we'll keep this guy. So we'll keep this guy open, and we'll come on through. So the pigs were just out in this spoke, which is one of our gardens here. They just did a fantastic job. So it actually looked, it was just as tall as that oats over there. They came in here for about a week, they gobbled it all up, and now we've got them fenced out over into this area over here. And what they're doing is we're fencing them into a series of constructed wetlands that we have here on the farm. So this is part of our water harvesting earthworks systems here, and we actually create systems where we flood in areas of cattails, bulrushes, and other aquatic plants that are very, very productive. So cattails produces more biomass than any other crop on the planet, and so there's 30,000 pounds of roots and tubers that are under the ground with these cattails here, and inside these tubers is a really nice starchy powder that the pigs just love. So this is, essentially, it's just like potatoes. It's sweet, and if you were to compare the nutrient value of these cattails to potatoes, rice, or corn, it beats them on every single nutrient metric. So it's better for carbohydrates, it's better for protein, it's more digestible, there's more minerals in it. And the best thing about it is that the pigs come out and harvest it themselves. So we have a series of these wetlands that extend for about 4 acres here. And all we do is we rotate them through with a simple electric wire. And whenever they want, they can come through that little piggy door and come out and grab some cattails here. Or they can also eat some grass, dig up the roots, get any grubs, tubers, anything like that. Okay, let's check back on Sophie and make some more pig feed. So she's doing good. We'll make the pig feed and then we'll come take that machine off of her. So we'll grab our empty buckets, and they still have some of the culture left over from yesterday. So that's going to act like a mother to help the fermentation process. We'll fill these bags up, or we'll fill these buckets up, and you can see all of the hay that's ground into this oats, barley, rye, triticale, there's actually a minimum of 30% hay or grass in here by weight. And we've been increasing the amount of grass that we're feeding our pigs every year because our goal is to try to produce grass-fed pork. But because of the breeding practices of industrial agriculture for the last couple hundred years, we've been slowly breeding all of our animals to be dependent upon high inputs of low nutrient dense food like corn and soy, which they're not healthy for the animal, they're not healthy for the environment, and they don't taste very good. You get pork that looks like it's white, whereas there's been times when I've gone over to one of my customers' house for supper, and I can't tell, because I didn't make the roast, I can't tell whether or not we're eating beef or pork because our pork is so dark. So what we'll do is we divide these buckets in half so that there's enough room for the milk and any water to top up the fermentation buckets. And you can see the chickens there, they're helping themselves to some of that duckweed that we harvested. They just love it. Oops. We'll put in a little bit of this duckweed now for a little bit of protein, as well as some vitamins and minerals and enzymes that they wouldn't be able to get anywhere else. One of the things that we have noticed on the farm here is that the nutrient density of our food is a function of the health of the ecosystem that produced it. And part of what makes an ecosystem healthy is biodiversity. So you can't have nutrient dense food from something that only eats one food, because it's not gonna, even if it was a really healthy food, if you're only eating one thing, like if you're a human and all you ate was carrots, you're not gonna be very healthy because one food can't have all the nutrients in it. So we try to create really healthy ecosystems where we've got really healthy soil so that all the minerals are available in every single crop, but that we give the pigs and the chickens and the cows a huge variety of crops at different times of the year so that we can have the best nutrient profile in the pork and beef that we produce. So now that we've got our duckweed in there, we're gonna pop open yesterday's milk. And so this is about 6 gallons of skim milk that was left over, or that we took off of our cream separation process. Sometimes we make cheese, and this would be whey, or it can be byproduct from yogurt or anything like that. So we add that into our grain. We'll rinse this bucket out. And we'll start the mixing process. So as we're filling the buckets, we just come along with a little 3-pronged pitchfork. We mix up all that duckweed and milk and the oats and the barley and the peas and the rye, along with the grasses, and we get a nice mixture, like you were making a pancake batter mixture is what we're going for. And once we get that all mixed up, we put it back under our little lids here, and it ferments for 24 hours. And so this will be the feed that we give the pigs tomorrow for breakfast. And tonight we'll come out when we go to lock the calf up so that we can have milk again tomorrow. We'll feed the pigs again at the same time. And the rest of the time, these pigs have to go out into one of the spokes of our system and get the rest of their food for them. So, as opposed to trying to create a perfectly balanced mineral ration for an animal, we believe that all of our animals have a huge amount of intelligence about what they need for their own bodies at different times of the year to make them as healthy as possible. And by giving them access to a huge diversity of areas, they can basically they can go grocery shopping, and they can go down, the plant organic aisles and select out the exact, vitamins, minerals, the worms, the tubers, the grasses that they need for whatever stage of development that they're at right now. Okay, perfect timing. Sophie's done. So you can see how loose her bag is now compared to what it was before. It was tight and all of her teats were swollen up. So we've gotten all the milk out. So all we need to do now is just pull one out, let the vacuum break.
You milking 2 cows a day?
We're just milking one cow a day right now. So we only milk 1 cow at a time. We have 2 milk cows. You can see Blossom over there. And the reason we have 2 is so that we can give them a nice long rest. Dairy cows have been bred to produce huge amounts of milk. And it's important for, the way that they produce that milk is they pull fat and nutrients out of their bodies. Come on, go see your baby. To be able to make that milk. And so, in modern dairy barns, they'll milk a cow. Come on. Sophie likes the fermented feed too. Come on. Come on, Sophie. Come on. No grain for you. Come on, go see your baby. So in industrial barns, they'll milk a cow for almost a year straight, and they only milk them for a few years at a time because their bodies literally wear out from the huge strain on them. Come on, Soph. And so what we do here is we give the cows a 6-month rest. Come on, let's go. Come on. So that they can have time to rebuild all the nutrients in their body, so when they have another baby, they're good to go. So by having 2 cows and milking them each for 6 months at a time, they're able to maintain their health and longevity. So we've had Sophie now for about 6 years, and this is her calf Blossom. And inside this little hut here is Sophie's baby. So we'll let her out, and for the rest of the day, her calf will get all the extra milk. So she'll grow up big and strong too. And if we need to, we can even turn her into a milk cow, and the whole cycle will repeat. So when the calf's done, getting the kind of dregs from the milk there, they'll go back out to pasture, eat all day long, and in the evening I'll come back out with a little bit more grain, and I'll give them a call, and they'll come right up to the fence here. I throw some grain on the ground, I put the calf in the pen, and the whole cycle repeats again. So now we're done morning chores. We're gonna head back up to our shop now and get that milk skimmed. And tomorrow we'll bring the milk that we just took, or the skim milk, back down here, and we'll start it all over again. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video about how we're raising our milk-fed, fermented sourdough, pasture-raised, rotationally grazed pork here on the farm. If you guys want to learn more about some of the other systems that we have on our farm, you can head over to our website at www.coenfarm.ca. Right now we're delivering pork across Alberta. So if you're looking to grab the best pork in Alberta, you can order that on our website. We'll talk to you guys later.